Hey guys, I'm Coach Michael BURT, the Super Coach. Every week coming into your life, and we typically want to multiply life, money, and business. But today we got a special show for you with my beautiful wife, Natalie G. BURT, called Living with a Monster. And we do this every month for couples. And the topic today is an incredible topic, which is how to sell your partner.
And not for money.
And I told my wife if she was going to sell me, it'd be a big ticket item. Mm-hmm. You get a lot of money from me, baby.
I know. I think we're both pretty expensive.
But the stock is going up every day. Mm-hmm. The stock is going up. The stock's going up on you too, by the way.
Yes.
And so today what we're going to talk about in this show is how to sell your partner, because we hear so many times, guys, I can't get my wife on board. I can't get my husband on board. I can't get them on board with the vision, right?
That's right.
I hear it every single week. So today we have broken this down, and we're going to give you some very specific tactics on how to sell your spouse, on where you're going, on a bigger vision, on how to play at a higher level. Is that what we're going to talk about?
Yes, that's what we're going to talk about.
So guys, you're watching Living with a Monster.
It can't be easy living with a monster, but to have an extraordinary life, married couples have to rid themselves of doing ordinary things. Coach and Natalie BURT believe it takes a full commitment rowing in the same direction in order to stay dynamic and continually push each other to live a monster life. This is Living with a Monster with Coach and Natalie BURT.
Hey guys, welcome back. Brand new show, Living with a Monster.
How to sell your partner.
And you're writing a book on this concept.
On Living with a Monster, yes, I am.
So tell everybody about what that is like, because I kind of volunteered you to write this book. Write this book.
Yes, you committed me on Facebook to writing a book.
Which a good
before
husband
I
would.
did.
Which
yeah.
a good husband would. Right? Because everybody, listen, this is a big concept out in the world. How do you live with a driven person?
Honestly, I would not be doing it if he wouldn't have committed me on Facebook. So I'm happy about that. It's been a fun process so far, and I have a good friend helping me go stride it, and it's going to be great. I'm excited.
Because living with a driven person is difficult. They don't know how to say no. They don't ever quit. They don't ever turn it off. They don't ever stop. They're always working. Even at night when I get home, last night we got home late, we're still talking business. We're still talking deals. We're still talking coaching. We're still talking real estate. We're still talking about raising a family, right, D. Hodges? We're still talking about all these things. But today's topic is a very specific topic, because we get together and we talk about what do we need to talk about with these folks that are out there in the world, because we fight the same battles that you fight, guys. And one of the biggest things I see every single day is one person that can't get another person on board with that. Now, we did a show that is similar to this concept, but it ain't the same concept. And that show was on unpartnered growth. And so when Natalie and I were talking about doing this show, she said, well, haven't we already done that show? I see unpartnered growth. I want to get your thoughts on this. I see unpartnered growth as one spouse is growing. One spouse is in a dynamic state. One spouse is in a static state. One person is growing and one person is stuck. To me, that's unpartnered growth. What we're talking about today, from my perspective, is how do I get you on board with doing something?
Yes.
That something could be, how do I get you on board with going down the seaside? How do I get you on board with spending money? How do I get you on board with starting a business? How do I get you on board with understanding where we're going? How do I get you on board? How do I sell you on a concept? And to me, that's very different than unpartnered growth. So what's your thoughts about that?
Well, I think there are similarities, but this is just another branch off of unpartnered growth. So I feel like it's just on how you see things. So we're going to dig in today and give you kind of a formula on how to sell your partner and how we sell each other.
Now let me ask you a question. You're looking at my notes, but you got notes over there. Is there a reason
I wrote these, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I'm just wondering why you're looking at my notes.
Well, I wrote those too.
Okay, all right, I'm just wondering, because I don't.
And printed you a copy, because I'm a good wife. Okay.
Don't be trying to get you stocked up today,
I'm
baby.
just saying.
So here's the deal. You got an idea. You got a vision. You got a dream. Like if I've heard it once, I've heard it 1,000 times. You know, hey, can you call my wife? Can you get Natalie to call my wife?
Oh, yes.
Can you get Natalie to talk to my wife? Can you have lunch with, can my wife have lunch with your wife? Can we do this? Can we do this? And I'm like, I get it. I get it. Because there was a time in our life where maybe you wasn't on board with certain things I was doing. Maybe I wasn't on board with certain things you were doing. Mm-hmm. But we have a clear distribution of labor in our house. Natalie is in charge of our daughter, and she's in charge of the real estate, and she's in charge of the greatness factories, and that's what she's in charge of. And I try not to tell her how to do those things. Notice I said try. Because I am a coach. And sometimes I do try to coach her on those things. I'm in charge of the coaching business. She don't tell me how to run the coaching business. But I see a lot of people, so when she says, look, we need to do this for one of our properties. We need to do this to do this. Mm-hmm. I don't sit there and go, well, no, we don't need to do it. We don't need to spend the money. For the most part, I ask her why she wants to do it, and I say, if that's what you need to do, then go do it, right? Just like we do with our business. So here's some of the problems. One partner wants to pursue something bigger, but they can't get buy-in from their partner. Now, because they can't get buy-in from their partner, what typically happens?
Well, the reason I think that, a partner would not want to buy into that is because they don't believe it'll work.
That's right. They don't believe it'll work, and you don't know if you just watch my show, Eliminate the Excuses, you don't know if it's going to work until you try it. That's a consideration. That's an excuse. Well, it won't work. Or you spend money on it on the past and it didn't work. Watch the founder. When he comes in and says, I got a great idea, and his wife's like, oh, here we go again. This is another idea. Okay? She wasn't saying that now. She wasn't saying that when he came back and he was worth millions of dollars, right?
She'd already left him.
But she left him.
Yeah.
Okay? But she wasn't on board with his dreams.
Right.
She wasn't on board with his dreams. So he's getting beat up out in the market every day, which a lot of people do. And he's getting beat up at home at night. Okay? So one reason is they don't believe it'll work.
So they don't believe you'll follow through with the commitment.
Yes.
Whatever commitment that looks like.
And I'm going to come back and talk about that one.
Okay. And then I added this today. It feels like something's being taken away from them versus both of you gaining something together.
All right, unpack what that means, because that's a good one. You try to sneak that one in on me before production notes.
Well, this kind of goes back to our Don't Take It Personal show that we did. So you kind of have to look at things as a couple and as a unit together versus I'm doing this and I'm doing this. We're going to gain things together. Like if he wants to go invest in something, then I'm going to benefit from that too. It's not like I can't buy this because he's buying this. That's not the way we look at things.
And that's how a lot of people look at things. We have a lot of people that say, look, I can't do this in the coaching program because my wife thinks it'll be taken away from us putting a new garage on the house. You need to understand this, that there's not always a dichotomy in something, like either or. Like embrace the word and, but I want to come back to this concept. Okay. Don't believe you will follow through, because here's what I think. Your spouse is going to give you suggestions about a lot of things all the time. She gives me suggestions about how to run the business, about what I should do, about who I should hire, about all of these things. Now, it's not that I don't follow through on some of these things, but I have a sliding scale every day of importance, and there's X number of things that I have to deal with in a day. And when you're coaching 1,000 people like I am, there's all kinds of problems. There's all kinds of people you got to get on board. So she may think in her mind, hey, this is a big deal. You need to deal with this. You need to handle this. Why won't you handle this? I may say it is a deal, but right now it ain't a big deal because I got 10 other big deals that you don't even know about. And I think sometimes what happens is we lose a little bit of faith, but it's sometimes it's not, we don't know the whole story. Does that make sense? It's like there's things happening during the day in real time that people don't know. So it makes it look like you're not doing anything when in reality you're doing a lot of things. And I think couples should be more interested in progress versus perfection. Okay,
That's good.
So your husband's a Superman, but there's only so many people he can be a Superman to in a day. You follow what I'm saying? And so when I think don't believe you'll follow through, it is true. Some husbands don't follow through. Some wives don't follow through. She has a different way of doing things and attacking tasks than I do. I attack a task head on. When I think about it, I do it. She does it methodically. She plans it. I may forget about the task she's supposed to do, and 2 weeks later, I look up and it's done. Like the whole garage is cleaned out, or this is done. I'm like, where did that come from? She had planned it out to do it, and I'm like, well, in my mind, it's like, go do it right now. Why wouldn't we do it right now? So we have different ways. So I may think she's not following through, but it's really her personality of planning and mapping things out. She may think I'm not following through, but I may see I am following through on 7 other things that you don't know about right now, but it looks like I ain't dealing with this thing. I'm going to get to that thing, but it's way, way, way on down my food chain. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Guys, we're talking living with the monster today. This is a perfect show for couples.
Yes.
You're writing a book called Living with the Monster. When's that book going to be done, by the way?
I'm shooting for August.
Nice. So we're going to print that puppy and we're going to sell it. We're going to be doing events called Living with the Monster. And here's how I do. I just make it public and make it real. I make it up and make it real. When we come back after the break, here's what we're talking about. The lack of support causes friction in your relationship. The lack of support causes friction in your relationship when one person wants to do something and I got to constantly sell the other one and I got to hear the back chatter. What happens is that causes friction because you can't sell your other person. Today on Living with the Monster, how to sell your partner, not for money in the market, okay? But how to sell them on an idea and a concept to get them on board. Come on back after the break. How do we get people to such a better state that they would contribute their own resources to help support our mission? Now, I go straight to the Bible, the book of Luke. It's Jesus, 12 disciples, 2 women, and a business manager. They're walking from city to city. They're sharing the gospel. And then it says at the end of that verse, and many others who were contributing from their own resources to support Jesus and the disciples. I remember highlighting that. I remember saying, now, why would a person contribute from their own resources to support another person's mission? It's only because that person, there was a direct correlation to that person getting those people to a much better place in their life. And when you get a person to a much better place in their life, guess what they'll do? They will contribute from their own resources, which is time, money, energy, network. They will contribute from their own resources to support you and your mission. Hey guys, welcome back to Living with the Monster. How do you thrive in partnership with a very driven and focused person? Today's show is this one: how do you sell your spouse on getting on board with the vision? And one of the things I think you can do, we talked about it in one of the early shows, is a vision retreat.
Yes.
You know, Natalie and I got in the habit, when we haven't done this in a while, of going over to Bonefish and drawing out what we're doing this year and drawing out where we're going. But that is a very valuable thing. And speaking of retreats, we do retreats down in Seaside, Florida, at our house. We named Sabbatical. And we got a great we got 2 couples retreats really coming up. One is with us, me and Natalie, and Hugh Freeze, the former head coach at Ole Miss, and his wife Jill. And that one's on Bounce Back. Man, it's going to be a great faith-based retreat. Hugh faced an enormous amount of national criticism. He lost his job at Ole Miss. He was probably earning $4 million, and then he had to go back and bounce back. And so he's got a lot of stories. He's the only person to beat Nick Saban twice, back-to-back years at Ole Miss. He built an incredible program, and I think that's going to be a great retreat, October 25th through the 28th. We're almost sold the bedrooms out. So if you want to get in on that, you got to let us know now. And next year in February, on Valentine's weekend, you and I are doing a Monster Couples Retreat.
That's right, some skill building.
So some skill building, and we'll be doing skill buildings in the morning and margaritas in the afternoon. And if you're interested in any of those, just email us at info@coachburt.com. But listen, that's one big thing I think you got to do to sell your partner.
Yes.
See, some people can't even sell them to coming down to Seaside.
To take a vacation.
They can't, to take a vacation, to get better, to grow, to spend time, to spend a little bit of money. So what we're talking about, you're having a hard time selling your spouse on something. You want to do something. You want to invest money in something. You got a dream you want to do. You want to get involved in a coaching program. You want to go to Seaside. You want to do something, but you can't sell your partner. And so I want to come back to this, and I want you to talk about this creates the lack of support causes a friction in the relationship. Talk a little bit about how it creates a friction in the relationship, because I got my idea. I want to hear what your idea is.
Well, this is not something I feel like we personally experience.
Yeah.
So that's hard for me to say. You know, I think we both kind of listen to each other and make big decisions together on what to move forward on. But I mean, I could see how that would cause friction for someone if you're wanting to grow or change, or want to invest in something. How your spouse not being on board with that would be hard.
And why wouldn't you try? If your spouse wants you to do something, Like, why wouldn't you try to do it? Now, there are things that she wants me to do from time to time, like ride on an upside down roller coaster, or go on a Ferris wheel. That's,
maybe like some zip
you know,
lining.
I mean, there are certain things that she wants me to do. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. But that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about, she wrote down as an example here, when I wanted to go to the 10X. Most people have heard this story, but one of the things I did is I committed to purchasing $100,000 worth of tickets at 10X because I wanted to help my buddy Cardone. He had spent $4 million. It guaranteed that I was going to speak on stage. I purchased the ticket, so that's a big commitment.
Well, let's talk about how this happened. You came home and said, I want to speak at 10X and it's going to cost $100,000. Now, how would you react to that from your partner or your spouse? I want to spend $100,000. Invest in myself and spend $100,000. You know what I said? Do it. No hesitation whatsoever. Do it. Because I believe in him.
But okay, so that's what I want to get across there. Why did you say do it? Because that's critical.
Because I believe in you.
All right, now, because we're going to get into this. Here's the deal. When you start to sell another person, the first thing you got to sell them is your own conviction. That $100,000 made us at least $250,000 and probably more than that. So it was a small investment for a big return, but here's the deal, what if I flopped? What if we couldn't sell the tickets? What if I got on stage and forgot everything? What if all of those things happened and it didn't yield that return? See, all she was doing was betting on me. So I went home and I said, let's bet on me with $100,000. Okay? And she said, do it. Imagine if I said, but come on, babe, please, this is a huge opportunity.
And I'm thinking in my mind of all the things that I want to buy, that I could buy with $100,000, but I didn't even think about it like that.
Absolutely. So when you go to sell this person, you know, we wrote down the formula. Why would your partner not believe you will follow through? Why? Because, see, here's how you need to look at trust. Trust is, I heard it said this way, and this is a great way of looking at it. The best predictor of future behavior is past relevant behavior. If you got a history of not following through, if you got a history of you start things but you don't finish them,
That's probably why you're having a hard time selling your spouse.
You're having a hard time selling your spouse because they've seen you mess around with your own potential for so long.
That's right.
They don't believe in you. And you know why they don't believe in you? Because you don't believe in you. So when I come home, I'm like, look, this is what we need to do. We need to we're going to the next level. And the next level for us is national exposure. We want to help a lot of people, and I can't do it without you. I can't go out there and fight the battles I fight as an entrepreneur every day and get beat up in the market, come home and get beat up by you. I just can't do it. And that's what happens, unfortunately, to a lot of spouses.
Right.
Is they go fight the battle every day, they get beat up, then they go home and get beat up some more. And what that's doing is it's eroding the confidence. Listen, Lou Holtz said this, what takes years to build up can take seconds to tear down. I could go out tomorrow and have an awful day and lose every bit of my confidence. Now, when I lose my confidence, how much money could we lose? If I walk in one day and say, look, I just can't do it. I don't want to do it. I can't do it. I don't feel like doing it. Then when my confidence goes, everything goes. So what I need her to do at home is protect my confidence. So I don't need her to beat my confidence up. I need her to protect my confidence. Right, Chris Cannon? I need to see you in class, Chris Cannon in Knoxville. Now, here's what I'm saying. So why would your partner not believe in you? That's what you wrote down. And why would you have a hard time selling them? What would you say? Why would you have a hard time selling your partner?
Well, I think it's what you just said. You know, a lot of times, you know, they have a history of not following through.
Yes.
But I totally agree with that. You know, do you believe in yourself enough to bet on yourself? Would you spend $100,000 on yourself?
I mean, I look at all of our friends that we're just now getting to know. Ed Milet and his wife, Cardone and his wife, Bradley and his wife. I look at these people and their spouses are right there in the boat with them.
That's right.
I mean, they believe in them 100%. They don't question it. They don't doubt it. They don't do anything. I mean, it is a 100% belief in each other. And even when they say we're going to do something crazy, we're going to do something out of left field, I feel like we need to mix it up. I feel like we need to bet on ourselves. Okay, I feel like we need to take it all the way. Now, when we come back, we're going to give you a formula. We're going to give you a formula, and then we're going to end up with something that I'm going to say specifically to the men. Okay, and you ain't going to want to miss this. You ain't going to miss this. Today, you're watching Living with the Monster with Natalie and Michael BURT. Hey, I'm Coach Michael BURT, 30-second timeout. Let's call this the Nick Saban rule. Nick Saban used to show up at every interview he had with a yellow notepad and a full page of notes of how he was going to improve the current condition of that university. He walked in and found every missing structure they had, and he had a solution. He was not reactive, he was always proactive. This is a tip I want you to use. Start showing up at meetings early with something valuable to say that is unique and differentiated. I'm Coach Michael BURT. Hey there, welcome back to Living with the Monster podcast that my wife Natalie BURT and I do. Also a new book that's going to be coming out, hopefully sometime in the fall, maybe next spring, called Living with the Monster, How to Thrive in Partnership with a Driven Person. And I think this show helps a lot of people because at least that's what they tell us.
True.
We're looking at doing a new Living with the Monster evening here at the Greatness Factory. We
Live
believe in
show.
coaching everybody. We got a program coming for kids, June 23rd, Michael BURT School of Emotional Toughness
Our daughter
and
will
confidence.
be present.
And our daughter's going to be right in there with it because she needs it. She needs it just like everybody else does. And so if you're out there and you're watching the show today, we got just a few minutes left before I have to do a webinar. But let's give the folks a formula. Today's show has been about how to sell your partner. Dan Sullivan would call this the backstage sale. There's a front stage sale and there's a backstage sale. And the backstage sale is back here that people don't see. Right? People see what's up here, but they don't see what's going on back here. And I think, I hear this so many times, I can't get my wife on board, can't get my husband on board, want to do it, but can't do it. You know, they won't let me join the coaching program because they said it'd be taken away from money. You know, I hear these comments all the time, and I'm like, man, you gotta go home and do a better job selling.
Right.
This is a sale, man. And so give them the formula if they got to get better at this, because there's a lot of people watching going, I got to get my spouse on board.
Well, we touched on this first one a minute ago, your own conviction about how you have to be sold on yourself first, and you have to believe in yourself first before you can sell your partner or spouse on something you want to do. The way I sell him on something, there's a couple of different ways I do this.
Don't give away all your secrets, baby.
I paint a really good picture for him. So I describe what a property would look like if I were to do this, this, and this to it, how it would feel, all of those things. And then another way that I connect with him is through numbers. So I have to show him, okay, this is how much money we could make if we do this, or this is how much money we could save if we do this. So he associates in numbers that way. So that's the way I have to paint that picture for him, with numbers, as well as a visual picture.
Well, here's the deal. I look at everything as asset or liability. It's either going to cost us something or it's going to make us something. So if she wants to do something, you know, when she goes and purchases them, she'll say, oh, well, but I got it on sale for 60% off. Okay, and so I actually saved $35 or $45 because I got it on sale today, right? Which is just her way. She don't know that I know that. That's her way of purchasing it and then, you know, asking for forgiveness afterward because we got it on sale. That's why we had to get it. Okay, I done figured that trick out. Okay, so here's the deal. If we're looking at a product or service, here, you know, like we want to buy a real estate property, I know she can enhance the value of that property. I just want to know, how much is it going to cost us?
And how much are we going to make?
How much money are we going to make off this? So put it in numbers. If you want to sell me, show me how it's going to save us, how it's going to make us something. Show us that, okay? So the other piece you wrote down is social proof. Others on your behalf advocating for you. Now, what does that mean? So we're trying to sell our spouse, but you need some social proof. What kind of social proof do you need?
Well, I think you need friends, you know, that believe in you, that are advocating for you. And that's what that means. That's what social proof means, you know, to help you basically make this sale. So you've got someone in the coaching program that's in a higher level than you,
yes,
wanting you to join and move up to that level. They can say, well, look what it's done for me, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, we got some great salespeople in our program. Derek Godwin is a great salesperson.
Yes.
Because what he'll do is you'll say, well, it's too expensive. Well, I can't get my wife on what and he'll come right back at you and convince you, no, this is crazy if you don't do it. Why would you not do this? And he's incredibly good at that. So let's finish with this, okay? Because I got to do an orientation here for new Monster producers. One of the things I think as men we got to do when it comes to selling to people is, okay, I'm just going to say it. We got to grow a set of balls. You understand what I'm saying? And here's the deal. Your woman will respond when you man up and grow a pair, as Larry Wingate would say, and quit just floundering around and, hey, honey and sweetie and baby, and will you do this? Listen, I think your spouse will respond to you when you say, look, by God, this is what we have to do.
Yeah.
Now my back's against the wall, and I don't need to go 15 rounds on this. I gotta get my mind right.
Yes.
I gotta show up, and I gotta grow up, and I ain't got time to talk about these things. I really think this is the problem I see with a lot of men that are out there. You know, and I can say that because I'm coaching 300 or 400 men. Sometimes you got to say, look, this is what we got to do. I need you on board with me here.
I do agree with this.
You know, so I'm not saying anything she don't
Well,
believe.
I mean, no, I have a hard time relating to women who are needy and don't support their husbands.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think sometimes it's we can't talk about this any longer. Okay, we've talked about it. We went around the road around.
Get on board
Listen,
with each other.
Here's the deal. She has a mission that she wants to do with her life, and I have a mission that I want to do with my life. Together, we're here to support each other in each other's missions and come together on each other's missions. And the only way that's going to happen is if we buckle down and eliminate excuses and don't beat up on each other when we get home and say, look, I need you here. You may not agree with everything I do, but I need you here. When it comes to this, I got to get my mind right to do this at a very high level. And I can't be worried about you every time I leave in the morning. I just can't. I can't do it. Now, these are tough. We've gone through these growing pains. We've fought through all of this stuff, guys, and by no means do we do it perfect. But I do think we do it at a high level, and I do think people come to us and go, how do we do it at a high level? There's nothing more inspiring than seeing a man and a woman on the same page.
Right.
And doing big things together. It inspires me. I hope it inspires you. So some of the guys that are listening to the show, man, you got to man up. You got to say, look, this is it. Get in there and lead, just like you would lead a company. Get in there and lead the house. Get in there and lead the family, right? So today's been a great show, sweetie. How to sell your partner. Wonder how much money you could get from me today if we were to put an auction out.
Baby,
25
you're
bucks.
priceless.
I know
Baby,
how much I could
you're
get for them
priceless.
earrings you got on today. How much them things cost? Them things on you right there. Alicia can tell me how much they
Lord.
cost because she's tracking the lettuce.
Alicia.
Now,
you got my back, girl.
So here's the deal, guys. How to sell your spouse. Go back and watch your show. Sit down and watch it with your spouse. You guys talk about it. Get on board with each other, and go do the things that you were called to do. Go do the big things that you want to do. And first, it all starts by selling your own self. The first sale you got to make every day is to your own self.
That's right.
And your spouse will feel and sense that conviction, and they will get on board with you. And listen, you're going to screw some of them up. Don't let them down. Follow through. See it through its logical conclusion. Great show, sweetheart.
Thank you, babe.
Love you.
Love you.
Love you. Y'all have a great day. Living with a
you.
monster. Hey guys, I'm Coach Michael BURT, the Super Coach, and I've spent the last 25 years of my life coaching people around the world, really to get an elevation in their careers and in their life through very specific structures. First as a women's championship basketball coach, and now as a business coach to some of the top entrepreneurs, sales professionals, and solopreneurs in the world. One new product we added to our equation this year was a retreat in Seaside, Florida. We purchased a house down in Seaside, Florida we named Sabbatical. And we believe in retreating to attack. So we go down to Seaside once a month and we spend 3 days with like-minded people on their business, about how to get a lift in their sales and in their structure and in their process. And then we give those retreats a theme. Well, this fall we're doing a very specific retreat for owners and founders of companies. If you founded or created a company from scratch, just like I did, you have unique problems, you have unique complexities, you have employee issues and sales issues and organizational issues and follow-up issues, customer service issues. And so this fall in November, we're going down to Seaside to do nothing but the Founders Retreat. November 15th through the 18th. It's going to be an incredible retreat. Only business owners, solopreneurs, or people that started and are trying to grow their business. So I encourage you, come down to Seaside with me. Get acclimated with our coaching program. If you're not ready for the big coaching program, or if you're in the program, go to Seaside and get intimate coaching. We do formalized sessions in the morning. We do one-to-one in the afternoon. Go to CoachBurt.com/retreats. We have limited availability for each of these retreats because the house has 7 bedrooms. Every bedroom has its own bathroom. We get to spend great time together at dinner and over coaching sessions. So go to CoachBurt.com/retreats and sign up for the Founders Retreat in November.